100 years ago, banks were once considered one of the safest places on earth. And why wouldn't they be? If you wanted to protect a lot of money, you either needed a heavily guarded vault or you needed a queen-sized mattress. And back then, we were all out of mattresses. However, since the advent of digital currency, guarding banks has become a useless endeavor. Similarly, people have come to find that out about one of the guest pickers on tonight's show. He's a man that simply cannot be guarded. He'll be joined by a resident sports expert, and we will discuss and predict what all the NFL will throw our way in Week 9. Put your boots on and get ready to hop in the duck blind. It's another week of Chris's Picks.
So it's just all about the effect, the taste. It's not about the experience at all. It's about the outcome.
No, the experience is terrible.
Folks, welcome to Week 9 of Chris's Picks. I just came back from the home of one of the guest pickers. And folks, let me tell you, this one's going to be a good episode. I've got high hopes for this episode, and a lot of people didn't think it was going to happen. But one of our guest hosts defied the odds, and really the other guest host, he was himself, and he crushed that as well. They both did a really good job. I'm excited to get to it. It's late at night. I want to go to bed, so we're gonna breeze through the recap. But you know what? We're going to take the same amount of care that we normally would. I'm just going to be speaking probably a little bit more quickly. Less on the joke side, because trust me, there's a lot of jokes on the back end of this one. So, recapping last week, the picks went 4-2 last week for me. Which means I am 30-18 on the year. The guest pickers, they went 3-3. They both picked the same games, so they both went 3-3. That leaves the guests 28-20 on the season. So, still ahead of the guest pickers. We'll see how it continues to play out. Really, there was one game that tripped them up, and, they were a little biased in their selection. It was Drew's game. They picked Drew. Drew lost, but, that happens. On to the recap. I love starting off with Harry's games. I love it. It's so easy. They're so easy to talk about. Insert team name over here. They beat Harry. That's what happened in this one, folks. The Young and the Homeless took care of business thanks to Tyreek Hill. And for the very first time, I think I'm mentioning this name, Travis Etienne. Finally, somebody other than the normal characters. Travis Etienne is playing some of the best ball of the season right now. And why wouldn't he? He's on Daniel's team. And Daniel seems to always pull the right lever at the right time.
Pull the lever, Gronk.
Harry did have a huge game from Christian McCaffrey, which bodes well for him in case there were any lingering questions about how Christian McCaffrey would be settling into his new team. He did A-OK. That bodes well for Harry moving forward. The roller coaster ride of a season continues for Jack in a good way this time after Hunter Biden's laptop cruised against Dylan's more than a Thielen team. As our last guest picker Taylor would say, the Ball boys were at it again with big games from Barkley and Lamb. Jamal Williams even continued to impress. The good news for you, Dill, yes, there is good news. You got beaten so badly that you can't even blame your managerial decisions this time. You would have lost no matter who you started. So that's the good news on your front, my friend. Speaking of managerial decisions, I decided to start Daniel Jones against my better judgment instead of Geno Smith.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
And while that wouldn't have changed the outcome of this game, it was certainly frustrating to watch my starting quarterback flounder this thing. Blake's can't guard Jameis team handed me an L thanks to Lamar Jackson and his kicker. Yes, folks, his kicker. I've made a lot of jokes about kickers on this show, but they do mean something, and it really propelled Blake to a victory in this one. Congratulations to Cangar James. Logan once again surprises the league by not being that bad. Team Takeout took out the trash against Dan's Dalvin and the Chipmunk team, and both teams had goose eggs in this one. Both teams had players who scored 0 points. On Dan's side, we had George Pickens.
My boy, how many minutes you playing tonight? You get in? 0?
And on Logan's side, we had Brandon Bolden.
My boy, how many minutes you playing tonight? You get in? 0?
It wouldn't matter for Team Takeout, though, because Derrick Henry scored 35 points. Yeah, you're going to win a lot of games if you got a player scoring 35 points. And Mike Evans and Romeo Doubs also had great games. So congrats to Logan. He's in the hunt, folks. Believe it or not, Team Takeout is in the hunt. So this is just another interesting development in this league as we continue throughout the season. Alvin Kamara's big game against the Raiders could not pull Williams' Dixieland Delights from the depths of defeat. If William would have played Devin Duvernay instead of Rashad Bateman, he still would have lost. But at least he wouldn't have had somebody who scored 0 points.
My boy, how many minutes you playing tonight? You get in? 0?
A lot of zeros this week. I don't know what to do about that. Dave's A.J. Brown didn't have any zeros, okay? He caught 3 touchdown passes, scored 30 points. Tony Pollard also scored over 30 points. Both A.J. Brown and Tony Pollard combined for almost more points than my entire team scored last week. The Mahomies earned their 6th win of the year in impressive fashion. And finally, in our Little Brother Bowl, the Chubby Dubbies defeated Gritty and the Jets. It was all Nick Chubb on Monday night, folks. He really sealed the deal for Scott's Chubby Dubby team. And I also have to give props to the recently acquired DeAndre Hopkins. He paved the way in this one too. So for all the grief that Scott has gotten for that trade that he did, I mean, it sure looks like it's working. You know, he's a team in win now mode. He's a team in ascension mode. He's keeping that thing going. It's about championships. This league is about winning championships. It's not about who has more draft picks or who has better draft picks. It doesn't matter. Draft picks are there for one reason: to win games. You play to win the game.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
That's what Scott's doing. So kudos to him. He cruised to victory in this one. Folks, that was as fast as I've ever been.
That's what she said.
That wraps up week 8. We're on to week 9 and the guest pickers.
Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy?
Welcome back to another edition of Chris's Picks with the guests. I am here alongside 2 people, and yes, there are 2 people. I know there are some of you out there that might not be able to see this one, but I'm here with Blake Eichhorn and Michael McMahon. I'm sorry if you don't want your last names broadcasted to all of America. This is the hottest show on YouTube, so there are a lot of people that watch, but glad you guys could be on the show today.
Good to be here, Chris. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Blake, you look great today, bud.
Mike, you do too, man.
You know, a little background on these 2 guys. I hear that we're casual fishermen. I hear there's some casual fishermen in this group. Is that correct?
I've caught a couple.
Yeah. I was asked, though, the reason I bring up fishing, we did have a write-in from a fan. A fan wrote in and wanted me to ask the group, what's the biggest fish you've ever caught? Like, how much did that fish weigh?
How much do you weigh, Blake?
I weigh about 180.
It's about accurate.
About 180.
175.
Blake, what's the biggest fish you caught?
What do you weigh, Mike? Doesn't matter what you weigh. I caught a 260 pounder.
So I think we know who the writing question came from. That's just a little background. We like doing a little background with the guests before we begin. plowing ahead to the actual part of this whole ordeal that we want to talk about, the picks. Okay, and we'll start easy like we always do. The Chubby Dubbies versus Dalvin and the Chipmunks. This is Scott versus Dan. So Dan's going to start Mariota probably with Dak on bye. This is a Josh Jacobs rebound game and has that all over. I'm hoping that DJ Moore can keep his helmet on this time. Good news for him is there's no fantasy penalty for taking your helmet off in the field of play.
You cannot do this. Right. You are a veteran. You act like you should have been there, done that before. That's what you should act like. Period.
Scott's got Jalen, he's got Diggs, and he's got Hopkins, who a lot of people gave him some grief about, but Hopkins has been showing you why he was worth the value. He's got Boyd, who's a wide receiver one without Chase. I like Scott in this one. Blake, what do you think?
Well, Chris, Mike, I'm going to just kind of break this one down for you. Scott's a 93-foot, fully loaded Viking. And Dan's team is a P-Rog full of tiny, cold, leftover crawfish that nobody wants.
Where the sky meets the sea, it calls me, and no one knows how far it goes.
So, just to put that into perspective, I mean, Scott is a juggernaut. He could have Diggs, Hopkins, and Kelsey out and still wipe the floor with Dan. In fact, he's going to steamroll Dan's team if I do.
Okay. So, Mike, now that you've got a little bit of an illustration, what do you think about this game?
You know, I hate to be a third wheeler here, but I actually agree with y'all. But I did take a little bit different approach.
Okay.
So, as many of y'all know, I'm not much of a sports fan. You know?
Shut the front door.
I like to watch sports here and there, but I wouldn't call myself a student of the game by any means.
No way.
So the main way that I picked who's going to win this, and again, I go with Scott, is because Scott has 2 Alabama players on his team, and Dan only has 1. So, Scott, take it away, brother.
Wow. You know, instant regret on inviting Mike to be on this show.
By the way, Roll Tide, big weekend.
It is a big weekend. It is a big weekend for the Tigers and the Tide.
We don't have enough time for all the things I want to say right now.
We don't have, and you know what? I don't have enough time to censor all of it. So that's really the biggest issue.
I'm on my best behavior.
Yeah, so anyways, so it's a clean sweep with Scott. Moving ahead to my game, Steven Stogies versus Hunter Biden's laptop. So this is me versus Jack, our good friend Peggy. He's got a case of the buys this week. And by that, I mean he's got no Saquon, no CeeDee Lamb, no Brandon Ayuk. You look at this man's team, they're probably on a bye week. He does have Josh Allen, thankfully for him. But who's he going to replace these guys with? DeAndre Carter? Robbie Anderson? I looked at this man's bench, and I was like, there's no way this guy's bench can beat me. This is verbatim from the Sleeper website. On Robbie Anderson, it says, quote, if you are still holding on to Robbie Anderson, feel free to move on, end quote. This guy's not beating me. I've got Geno Smith, G-Dot, as I like to say. I've got Swift. Adams should be better. He's no longer playing the Saints. Possibly Marvin Jones instead of Henderson at the flex. We'll see. I like me in this one. I like me big. Blake?
Chris, I couldn't agree more with you, man. Mike, to break this one down for you, both Chris and Peggy went to Puglia's to buy their shotgun shells. They get out to the blonde. They go to load their guns. The ducks are flying by. They bought blanks.
1, 2, 3.
But in this scenario for this game, I mean, Peggy's whole team is out. He could have Josh Allen throw for 700, rush for 800, throw for 7 TDs, and a partridge in a pear tree.
Saints 42, Cardinals zip. But the Red Rifle Andy Dalton will be held to under 600 yards passing. Who dat?
We're not quite to Christmas season yet. I will say, if Josh Allen does that, I'm losing. I'm for sure going to lose this game.
I don't know, Chris.
Mike, what say you, Mike? What do you have to add to our country twang?
I think we're forgetting something a little important today.
What's that?
It's a special day today. Do y'all know what it is?
Takeoff died?
It's All Souls Day.
All Saints Day.
Oh.
But
it is All Saints Day.
The other celebration of the day is today is actually Jack's birthday.
It is. It is his birthday.
I did wish him a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jack.
I did wish him a happy birthday.
Jack Martin.
I actually wrote Jack a little song for his birthday today.
Right now, you're gonna. Oh, this is exciting.
It's a short.
You're getting an exclusive look, folks.
I can sing it if
please.
you want me to.
No, please do.
Go all out.
It goes like this. Happy birthday to Jack. Your team looks like and you're gonna lose to Chris.
Well,
go Chris.
Let's go. Mike's picking me.
Who said Mike couldn't be funny?
Well,
I worked on that one hard for you, buddy.
We'll see if that ends up in the final copy of this show. Well, we appreciate the thought. I think Jack appreciates the well wishes. It's also my mother's birthday. And we're not going to sing any song remotely close to that one to wish her a happy birthday. But happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday.
Another reason Chris should take the win.
I should take the win because we're filming on my mom's birthday. Moving ahead to Gritty and the Jets versus Team Takeout. This is Drew versus Logan. Half this league is really good and half this league is bad. So surprisingly enough, there are playoff implications on the line in this game between 2, 3, and 5 teams. Derrick Henry had 35 points last week for Logan. It really propelled him to a big win over Dan. Romeo Dobbs has been up and down, but Dameon Pierce has been steady Eddie, and it looks like with Irv Smith out, Mike Gesicki is going to get the start for Logan. Tua's throwing him the ball. Tua's Drew's quarterback, so we'll see how that goes. On Drew's end of things, he's got Deonta Foreman, who's the running back one for Carolina, but Singletary has been less than ideal. It's tough betting against Waddle. Jefferson, we'll see. For those of you that don't know, who don't follow the stats like I do, or who don't get on Twitter, Jefferson hasn't caught a touchdown pass since week 1 of the NFL season. So maybe he's due, maybe he's not. I do have Drew in this one. I have Drew in an interesting game, though. Blake?
Yeah, Mike, these teams, Drake Camo with Sitka Dreams. I mean, they want it. They're right there, but they just can't seem to get it together. Troj can't stay healthy. Andy's on a 3-game losing streak. I mean, if you flipped his record around, he'd have the same record as me, but that's not the case, unfortunately. However, I mean, Andy, love the guy, one of my best friends, does a great job with the production in these videos. It's off the charts. I mean, you're part of the reason why this whole ship runs. Troj, one of my best friends, man. You're a great guy, getting into medical school. So proud of you.
Yeah, Troj.
But I think Andy takes this game.
I'm gonna have to disagree with y'all on this one.
Oh, we got a little friction, Mike.
So I don't know about y'all, but I've seen Drew try his best to pick up girls in the past.
Okay, yeah.
And he just really doesn't do a good job of it.
And that correlates to this how.
And if Drew's ability to pick up girls is anything like his ability to pick a starting lineup, he's got no shot. I'm going to go with the guy who knows how to pick them. What up, Mads?
Let's go,
Team
Mike.
Takeout.
Come on. Is that might be the best analysis ever given on Chris's pick. Flawlessly executed. Our first disagreement of the night. We'll see if that continues. Moving ahead to More Than a Thielen versus Can't Guard Jameis. This is a very involved matchup because it's Dill versus our good friend Blake here. I got to start with the obvious. I got to start with the elephant in the room. Dill started P.J. Walker last week. Very questionable decision. It ended up being okay in the end for him. We'll see if he starts him again this week. Ramondre Stevenson has been awesome. And it looks like Jonathan Taylor has twisted his ankle last week, so we'll see what happens there. I'm not really sure. Dill may start Juju Smith-Schuster instead of Brian Robinson. He might freak out when he sees this video and get some type of FOMO and change his lineup. I don't know. He's apt to do that. On the flip side, we've got a good friend Blake here. He's got Lamar Jackson, the number 2 quarterback in fantasy football. He's got Kenyon Drake, who's getting carries with J.K. Dobbins out. Mike Thomas, who knows if that guy will ever play football again. I don't know. This guy Mike T stubbed his toe on a mesh pylon in like week 2 of the year, and he's been out for the season. We have no timetable on his return. All that being said, I'm going Blake. It's an obvious choice for me. What do you think, Blake?
Quick little shout out, Cole Holly. I mean, by far, above and beyond, bar none, the smartest guest we've ever had on this show. The dude has no agenda. He calls it how he sees it. I mean, what a just genuine guy. I mean, I've taken a lot of slack this year, and deservedly so. You know, last year I wasn't in the right headspace. My team was down. You know, I deserved all the hate and criticism that I got. But this year I seem to have solved it a little bit. I'd like to say my team's a contender. You know, we're winning. We're not championship bound yet. In fact, you know, my team getting a championship, it's kind of like my relationship with Lang To's sister. You know, we're meant to be together. She just doesn't know it yet.
She's married.
For now. But anyway, Mike, to break this one down too, my team, I'm kind of like a Yeti. I'm a solid Yeti ice chest. Dylan, on the other hand, he's the foam ice chest you get from Circle K that breaks on the first day at the beach. So take that what you will. I mean, I'm taking myself. Mike Thomas has been out since Prohibition, but I'm winning this game.
This is kind of off the rails in a certain way. Mike, what do you say to all this?
So this one's really going to come down to a game time decision for me. Since this is the Battle of the Gingers.
Oh, it is. It is the Ginger Bowl.
I figured we could have a little live ginger trivia to determine my pick.
Okay.
Oh, God.
If Blake can get this right, I might just have to pick him.
This is amazing.
So, Blake, here's an important piece of ginger trivia for you.
What you got?
What did gingers miss the most about a great party?
I don't know, Mike. What's that?
The invitation.
Coming from the fringe guy himself.
Okay, well.
All right, guess you didn't get it, Blake. I got Dylan.
So Mike's going to go Dill here. Wow. You know what, guys?
I might be crashing the guest picker record here, but
I'll tell you what. You can't do worse than my mom. Love you, Mom. Again, happy birthday. It was a rough week for you.
Hope she's drinking some beers.
She probably is. This has been some of the most interesting commentary that I've ever experienced. We're gonna see what happens next. I'm literally on the edge of my seat here. We're moving on to the Young and the Holeless versus the Mahomies. A lot of people might have thought this was gonna be our game of the week. I'll explain why it's not in a minute. Is this a championship preview? How disrespectful is that to Scott? Extremely disrespectful.
Pretty much, yeah.
But
I think, agree.
Yeah, I think this could be a championship preview. Daniel has nicknames on his team too. I want everybody to go check that out.
I did see that, Chris.
Blake is not the only one with nicknames.
I'm an inspiration.
I love it. I love it. So anyways, is Daniel going to start Kyler or Joe? No idea. Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray. Who's he going to start? Travis Etienne is playing great ball right now, which sounds about right for Daniel, as everything just clicks for this guy right when he needs it to. Kupp is expected to play in Week 9. It doesn't matter because he's got Tyreek Hill. You know, so if Kupp doesn't play, he's got that to lean on. Patrick Mahomes is back for Dave. Raheem the Dream has been inconsistent, but Mixon has been the calm in the storm for David Bowe. How many touchdown catches will A.J. Brown have this week? I don't know. If he has 3 like he did last week, this one could get away from Daniel. Who is going to be Dave's tight end? Right now he's got Cade Otton listed. I don't know about that. I've got Daniel. Blake?
So, Mike, we got Daniel's team. It's a fully loaded King Ranch F-250.
Sounds nice.
We got Dave's team, also a fully loaded King Ranch F-150.
Which one has a grill guard on it?
I'd have to say Daniel's team.
Okay.
He's got the grill guard. He's got 4 low. But Dave does too, but he doesn't have a grill guard.
4-wheel drive?
For sure. Oh, yeah. 4x4.
He's more of a city guy.
Yeah. just you know, drives it for, looks.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Daniel's whole team is healthy and not on bye. Dave has Andrews out, like Chris said. I don't know who that tight end is, even who's going to replace him. I got Daniel on this one by a landslide.
All right, Mike.
So I actually knew a few players on Daniel's team. So.
Mike did actually look at rosters. That's great to hear.
I did. Daniel has Joe Burrow, who, I mean, come on. When are we going to get over this guy, you know? Maybe he won't start him this week. I hope not. He'll probably have a better chance if he doesn't.
Your grandchildren's grandchildren will be talking about Joe Burrow.
He don't want a field goal.
And Burrow keeps it. Joe Burrow might be a Heisman moment right there if he hasn't produced enough of them.
Also, Leonard Fournette was on his starting lineup. And I got some real beef with Leonard Fournette because back in the day of the state championship Jays, well, actually the year before that, Leonard Fournette used to just pummel my friend Dylan 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Didn't Dylan get a hand on him one time on a kickoff return?
That's the claim to fame.
Come
on, Dylan!
out of his life.
Yeah, that's the claim to fame.
You know, and I just can't side with the team that's got these two guys on it, so I'm going with Dave.
Okay, well there you go. Mike's going with Dave. Mike's been a bit of a contrarian here. We'll see how that works out for him. And yes, for all those scratching your heads at home, this man did play football in high school. So I know that it's coming to a shock based on his knowledge of the game. Moving on to the game of the week, folks. This is what I like to dub the Deceptively Good at Golf Bowl, and it's sponsored by the Ben Hogan Jr. Clubs. A lot of people would question why this is the game of the week. I'll tell you why. You ever realize when SportsCenter and College Game Day have to go to these pity campuses, you know, every once in a while? I mean, they can't go to Alabama and Georgia every week, you know? This is what this is like. We're stopping by at, let's call it the lower tier. No disrespect to either of these teams.
Marshall and South Alabama.
This is a Marshall South Alabama. This is the Jackson State Southern. No disrespect to them as well, but that's just what it is, okay? The reason it is, though, is because the Dixieland Delights are 4-4, and Team Sadaho is 3-5. William is number 5 with a 4-4 record, and Harry is number 10 with a 3-5 record. So a lot can change based on this game if Harry wins or if Will wins. You've got Herbert versus Trevor Lawrence. Eckler's back. Harry lost Christian McCaffrey to a bye. He'll probably have to start Khalil Herbert. Kamara versus Gus Edwards in the running back 2 slot. A lot of boom or bust on both these rosters. I mean, both of these rosters are honestly a mess. This is truly, we're on College Game Day, and we're giving Lee Corso, you know, Nestle water bottles instead of Ozarka or Dasani. You know, we're off-brand here. Devin Duvernay, Mac Hollins, T. Higgins, Zay Jones. I mean, who am I talking about here? Will's gonna take this one home, and I think he's gonna take it home by way of Antonio Gibson, who's coming into his own right now. So I've got William in this one. Blake, what do you think?
All right, Mike. So Will is kind of a yellow lab here that's out for the count after retrieving 4 ducks from 15 yards out. That's his team at the end of the day. Harry, on the other hand, he's also he's a retired hunting dog that you just bring along for the vibes. That being said, Will's gonna win this game.
Oh man, Mike, what can you say to just go along with that?
You know, guys, William's been my roommate for what, 8 years now? Is that right?
Something like that, yeah. College, yeah.
College?
Yeah.
So naturally, you know,
or whatever y'all call that university.
The guy's watching. I wake up 8 o'clock Saturday morning, Sunday morning. He's zoned in, watching football all the time. You would think, you know, this guy knows some stuff about football.
You would think. One would think.
A couple weeks ago, William gets this new dog.
Yeah. They call it Wrigley.
Wrigley.
Her. They call her Wrigley.
Really weak name. I mean, the Cubs are a pretty average team.
Terrible.
Don't think I would name anything anywhere around me, anything related to the Cubs. But all of a sudden, William gets this dog. I never see the guy anymore. I don't think he's in the zone like he used to be.
He's not locked in.
You know, he's never at home. No. He's not watching TV. He's up at all hours of the night taking this dog out. You know, he doesn't have the attention and focus that he used to. And he's now being replaced by Harry as my new roommate.
Yeah,
So,
that's an interesting dynamic.
Out with the old, in with the new, William. I got Harry.
Wow, and Mike McMahon ends it with a not so fast a la Lee Corso. Out with the old, in with the new.
What a way to string that one together, Mike.
Let's redub this name. This is not the Deceptively Good at Golf Bowl. This is the Michael McMahon Roommate Bowl is what this is.
True.
Wow. Incredible. Folks, that ends whatever you want to call this. I gotta say this. I am so impressed by the work that you guys put into not the picks. Because clearly the bulk of the work wasn't put into doing any research on football or this league. The work was put into wit, charm, the soft skills in life that I think these two excel at very well. I appreciate both of you being on the show.
That's exactly precise, Chris.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having us, Chris. Blake?
Can't wait till next time.
Well, folks, that'll just about wrap us up. We will see you week 10 on Chris's picks.
Try following up with that.
Come on.